You filthy defending a thief. You're trash, all of you. That's how Officer Malik Mitchell face twisted, eyes cold greeted a black woman walking in a Millstone District Court, Courtroom 3, on a Wednesday morning that felt like any other, except, it wasn't. Because what Malik didn't know, that woman wasn't just anybody, she was Lena Carter, and just hours before, she'd been sworn in as chief of police. She didn't come in with apologies or a smile. She came to tear open everything rotten he'd built. Let me back up a second. Picture the scene. Pale fluorescent lights, benches worn by decades of stories nobody wanted to tell, and a teenage black boy named Aaron Carter 17, thin, mouth set like he'd learned young that sometimes hope isn't enough. He stood at the defendant's bench, charged with stealing a watch. No evidence, no prints, just the word of a tired store clerk and the kind of paperwork that feels more like a script than a search for truth. Everyone in town knew if you came through those doors in cuffs, you'd almost certainly leave with a conviction. It was a joke, but not the funny kind. Mitchell, standing sentry, didn't need to say a word to make people nervous. Decades in the force had made him a master of silent intimidation, his uniform crisp, badge faded, eyes sharp as the day he joined. Today, he stared at Aaron not with suspicion but pure contempt, the kind that had made countless young black men drop their gaze, knowing there's no argument you can win against that look. Across the aisle, the prosecutor droned through his lines, spinning minor facts 3 tardies at school into a record of behavioral incidents. The defense attorney barely put up a fight, barely raised her voice. She called it youthful misjudgment, but everyone in the room heard it for what it was: surrender. Then the door opened, not loud, just enough for everyone to know to see a black woman in a black coat, file in hand, stride steady. She didn't ask for permission, didn't explain herself, just took her place near the front. That was Lena. Nobody recognized her, but the room changed, the air thickening. Mitchell approached, all intimidation, but Lena didn't blink. He barked, "Who do you think you are?" She just lifted a document, held it at her chest, waited for the judge. When Mitchell pressed her, "Who do you think you were walking in here like you run?" the place she met his eyes, still as steel. It was the first time anyone in that courtroom had dared to stare him down, and Mitchell felt it maybe for the first time, a chill that wasn't fear, but the shock of finding your authority no longer works. Then, in a moment that burned itself into every watcher's memory, Mitchell lost control. His voice, normally cold and controlled, cracked. "You coming in here to defend this worthless thief? You people are society's trash." The room froze. Lena, steady, spoke not to Mitchell, but to the judge. "You are insulting someone not yet convicted. If this is still a courtroom, I have the right to demand such conduct cease. My brother Aaron is not yet 18, no record, never heard. You have no right to call him a thief or anyone here trash." That hit like a thunderclap. Mitchell, hands clenched, neck veins bulging, was unmoored. Lena's refusal to bow, to rage, to curse, left him nowhere to push. He lost it. Suddenly, he stepped in, twisted, and kicked full force, right into Lena's chest. She went down, papers scattering like broken wings. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The courtroom wasn't a court, Anna Maria, it was a crime scene. But Lena? She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She picked herself up, gathered her papers, every movement saying, "I'm still here, and you just made a mistake you can't undo." Someone finally raised a phone, someone always does. Eventually, and the truth was out. The newly appointed police chief, kicked to the ground in her own courtroom, by her own officer, all caught on camera. Within hours, the video was everywhere. No commentary needed. A hissed insult, a brutal kick, the thud of Lena's body against the bench. Hashtags erupted. Memes, parodies, outrage. Mitchell went from shadowy enforcer to national disgrace in less than a day. But not everyone was on Lena's side. In certain corners, mostly white, mostly suburban, Mitchell became a martyr, a man pushed too far, a victim of a system now rigged against those who kept order. The city tried to walk it back. The trial against Aaron was suspended to ensure impartiality, but everyone knew why. Lena, meanwhile, didn't go on TV. She went straight to internal affairs. Her first order? Pull every case tied to Mitchell from the last 12 years. What she found made her skin crawl. 14 complaints, most buried. 9 never digitized, 1 vanished. The patterns were clear. Whenever Mitchell was praised for reducing crime, complaints surged. Threats, coercion, forced confessions, names erased as if the people behind them were never there. The system, Lena realized, wasn't broken. It was working as designed for those it was built to protect. Meanwhile, an unexpected ally surfaced. Kevin Simmons, a quiet 16-year-old who'd seen the real robbery, watched Aaron chase down the thief and return the watch, but never spoke up until he saw the video of Lena being kicked. His testimony, plus recovered security footage, revealed Aaron's innocence. It was never about justice. It was about convenience. As the weeks passed, the pressure grew. Every stone Lena turned revealed another buried story: a single mother threatened, a teenage boy pinned to the pavement, a complaint misplaced in the shuffle. And through it all, Lena faced warnings, surveillance, even a failed ambush on her walk home. She didn't stop. She didn't let fear become her boss. Eventually, Lena went public. Not with grandstanding, but with data maps showing arrest hotspots, almost all black and brown neighborhoods, the pattern impossible to deny. She played an old recording. "We let Mitchell do it because trash doesn't need protecting." Her point wasn't subtly if that kick hadn't happened. Nobody would be sitting here seeing the truth now. But the system fought back. State agencies pressured media to pull coverage. Threats got subtler: budget freezes, gentle reminders about not rocking the boat. Lena learned the hard truth. Mitchell was never the problem, just the perfect tool for a system addicted to numbers and blind to justice. Still, Lena pressed on. She created an independent review board. Every complaint once ignored was reopened. Former victims became advisors. Data went public. No more hiding. Officers had to explain themselves directly to those they policed. If someone slipped, it was logged for all to see. Slowly, the city began to shift. Millstone became proof, not of perfection, but that even the deepest rock can be cut out if you're willing to face it. When Mitchell was finally arrested, there was no press conference. Just a man in cuffs, passing through the same halls he'd once ruled. His authority evaporated. No one stepped forward to defend him. He sat in interrogation room 2, once the master, now the questioned. When asked why he never reported the assault, all he could say was, "I didn't think it was that serious." The silence after that answer was heavier than any sentence. Even his own lawyer quit. His empire built on fear and compliance crumbled, not with a bang, but with everyone quietly turning away. In detention, no one bowed their head. Eyes met his, not with fear, but with a kind of satisfaction. For the first time, Mitchell understood what it meant to be powerless. Lena didn't celebrate. She kept working, opening cases, returning names to those who'd been erased, building a culture where justice wasn't about punishment, but about making things right, no matter how long it took. A blank flag was raised over City Hall, no emblem, no slogan, just the empty space where silence used to be. So let me ask you, you, wherever you're watching from, does justice mean protecting power or protecting people? Where you live, do police shield the community or just themselves? Because in Millstone, a city once known for its silence, someone finally stood up and made the system say every name it had tried to forget. Now, before you scroll on, I want to hear what you think. Is there ever an excuse for silence? Does justice only matter when it's your name at stake? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me where you draw the line between order and oppression. Let's see if together we can keep the light on where others try to turn it off.